Festival de...
Okay, the San Sebastian Film Festival and myself have the great fortune to have the technical crew and cast of the film High Life that competes in the official section. We have with us today so, as I was saying, we've got the actresses Agatha Bushett, Mia Goth, Juliette Binoche, the actor Robert Pattinson, and the director Claire Denis. I imagine there are many questions, so therefore, let's start with the press conference. Please, the photographers, can they please sit down as soon as possible? Hi, good morning. I'd like to ask Robert Pattinson, please. Un momento. Mr. Hi, good morning. I would like to ask Robert Pattinson whether this film awakened your father instincts, and what was it like working with a little baby girl? I imagine it's easy, looks easy, but it was probably difficult. Claire Denis, how did this idea come about, and why did you think about Mr. Pattinson for the leading role?
Open my father instincts. Not really. I think. No, she's quite. Scarlett, who plays the young Willow, is quite a unique child, and I don't think it's. I think it's quite a lucky baby to work with. I don't think she's the average baby. And I was kind of aware of that working with her. But yeah, it's very nice working with a baby. Oops, sorry. It's like having a wild animal on set. I mean, it's like a sort of constant source of surprise and inspiration.
Alors pour moi,
Okay, for me, working with Robert was also like having a wild animal on set, a constant source of inspiration. No. Robert and I, before we started to shoot the film, we got together on several occasions. For him, it wasn't evident and obvious from the beginning. I think he didn't understand the script quite well, not completely. And I saw him so young, but at the end, when we started to shoot the film, I think he understood it a little, and the truth is, it was great to work with him. Oh, the idea. How did the film? How did the film come along? This is a question for the director. Where? It was in my head for quite a long while back, along with my co-scriptwriter Jean-Paul. That is to say, we were imagining a man on his own in space, far away from Earth, outside atmosphere, the Earth's atmosphere, and outside the solar system. A man without any hope. He had no hope at all of coming back to Earth. And they'd all died, everyone around him, the members of the crew, and he was there on his own with a baby girl. And all of a sudden, he couldn't die because he couldn't leave the girl on her own, the baby girl or the girl on her own later on. So therefore, he had a responsibility to undertake that he didn't have beforehand up until then. And all of a sudden, his life changes completely. Or his life is transformed, better said. And up until the moment in which this girl, baby girl, turns into a woman, and then she was able to stay on her own. She could live on her own in the world. Hi, good morning. I would like to ask, the film we see violence, sex, egoism, and we hardly and hardly any love, any good feelings anyway, any good, if you catch what I'm saying. So, well, at least that's what I perceived. I didn't see it anywhere, or that's the feeling I have anyway after seeing the film. I'm not too sure. Do you believe the human species are destined to finish up that way with that absolutely basic way of living? And Robert Pattinson, I'd like to ask you how you confronted this character, which was a character in complete despair. How did you approach the character? Robert first. Robert is not responsible at all, poor guy. Robert's not responsible at all. He just followed what I said. I don't agree with what you've said, and absolutely why? Well, because can you imagine yourself in a situation like that? Where he's a scientific guinea pig who's sent so far away. The human species isn't that at all. Human species, there's a lot of solidarity in the human species, and I think that crew, when we see their lives, the fact they still maintain human relationships is very important. They're not that egotistic, well, not that much anyway. And plus, they're on their own. Of course, they're alone. But when you've talked about sex, I think that's a very ugly word. I prefer to talk about desire. Okay, desire. And here on Earth, even outside, out in the street, the desire is there when we talk about sex. When we say sex, I think sex is a bit of a dirty word. No, and such is not the case. Your turn.
I don't think I ever approached him as being a man in despair. I think he's just a bit. You're just sort of. He has no plan, and I know there was something I really loved about Claire's work. I loved the physicality in a lot of her previous movies, and I hadn't really done that in anything else I'd done. And so I was really just kind of curious how to approach a part in quite a physical way and not really be too cerebral about it. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't feel like a particularly it didn't feel like a movie about despair or a character in despair at all. I mean, it's just you're just living on a minute-to-minute basis, and so. It's just kind of odd to feel that in a movie. Normally, there's a very definitive mission, and to kind of be directionless, it's kind of interesting to perform.
Hi. I want to ask two things. One to Claire and one to Robert. First of all, Claire, I would like to know if was necessary so much visual painful for the people that's watching the film, and what do you want to earn with it? What do you pretend with the visual painful of the film? And to Robert, has it been the most difficult performance in your cinema life? Thank you.
You should answer first, no, maybe?
But this, not at all. This was one of the easiest ones. I mean, working with... Claire is one of my favorite directors, and I've loved pretty much every single movie she's done a lot. And so it's very, very easy to kind of give yourself over to someone when you really trust them, and the performance is just... It just ends up being really fun, and it was just so. I don't know. I guess that's the whole thing. I just very, very much trusted her, and then you just feel very free in the performance. So she's a very easy person to work with.
For me, I'm not sure I understand exactly the first part of your question. You said something about violence.
Yes, because we watch so much visual painful, so much pain in the film. So
Yes.
I want to know why and what do you pretend to get with this?
For me, I see the pain is their condition. They are in custody. They are convict. It's like a jail, you know? It's a jail in space. And they are condemned to death. So I don't think if you go to the death corridor, you will see people suffering in a way because their lifetime is conducted minute by minute, day by day. They don't have a future in a way, you know, in a death corridor. But in this crew is brave, and they try to make the best. And I don't think you watch only pain in a film like that. I'm not sure, or maybe you have been sleeping sometimes, because there is a lot of tenderness too. And what I want to achieve or to get, I don't know. I already get it by making the film. That's the most I could get, to be with those actors and actresses, and this is it.
Perhaps the rest of the cast maybe could say a few words and talk about their experience working in the film, because Mia, Agatha, and Juliette, obviously, they are very intense characters, but it also has a feminine slant, doesn't it, the film? Perhaps you could talk about this as well, the rest of the actresses.
Half the question.
I'm just... tenía que ver con...
I think that the film has a really feminine point of view as well, and...
Yes, it does. Well, firstly, being written by a female director, this is my first experience ever working with a female director, and for it to be Claire, who is so brilliant at what she does, I felt very fortunate for it to be that. But I think because of who Claire is, all her characters in all her films are always going to be very multifaceted, three-dimensional characters, and that's partly what makes her films so great. And I felt it was just wonderful getting to play Boise. I don't really understand what the question is.
Well, it was just not a question, it was just an observation that maybe you wanted to talk about your experience on it with your character, because I found out that all the supporting characters from the movie are really intense and interesting and suggestive, and I just wanted to know from you.
Do you want to speak, Agatha?
No?
No?
Should I?
Of course.
The press conference. Okay, can I speak in Polish? Is it going to be translated as well?
Sure about that.
No.
It's we shot in Poland too. It's a Polish co-production.
We did. I didn't. I find myself in a very strange situation now because I haven't seen the movie.
You're going to be happy.
I think I'm going to be very happy, but I'm going to see it tonight. So after I will be able to talk more about the movie, and now I can talk about the experience I had with working on the movie, which was great. The thing I enjoy the most, I think, is the freedom that Claire has and gives. And of course, it's not like we have no script and we don't know what we're gonna shoot. Of course, we know everything, but then you get on set and the kind of freedom she allows herself, and that she cannot listen to it. And the kind of freedom that she gives to everybody around, this is something I miss quite often. This is something I love, and this is something I think we all need. I'm really grateful for that.
That's nice. As for me, what I enjoyed so much was, first of all, we met in August, and Claire wanted us to gather and spend time together, like 2.5 weeks, something like that. So we had the privilege to meet with astrophysicians and specialists of the interstellar world, and we train in swimming pools, and we train, and it was a back and forth conversation, and we bonded like that. So Claire was able to, and she really insisted with the production and all the actors to be there at that rendezvous, and we created a nice feeling together. So when we came on the set in a studio in Köln, in Cologne, it was a family already, and so working together was not working, was just how do we make this world happen, and how do we relate to each other? And each scene was a challenge, I would say, because you never know where it's going. As Agatha was saying, it was there's a sort of a freedom, but I'd say Claire doesn't direct, she observes, and she embodies. She embodies with you. She wants to be moved by something that is invisible somehow, and yet she's taking care of the visible. There's this. I'm always fascinated the way she works, because there's a tremendous love, and she doesn't take any bullshit. If she doesn't like something, she would say it out loud. She doesn't lie. She just in the moment of what she's doing, and that I love, because I feel that it brings me a truthfulness in my acting and in my being in general. And at the end of the day, we can laugh with a glass of wine at the hotel, and it's cool.
And I would like to add something about Agatha and the film. It's true, we shot in Poland. We had a Polish co-production, thanks God. But I have to say, I met Agatha before the Polish co-production system. She was not the co-production actress. I met her on stage, working with a great director, and in Paris and in London, and I asked Robert to come with me to see Krzysztof Warilowski play. And I remember Agatha as already a sort of, like the pilot, she was already on stage, someone from the space, and I wanted to add that, of course, so,
I know, thank you. It's really great you came to that play.
I came like 10 times to see the play,
Hi there. Hi. Can you hear me? Yeah. My question is for the actors. This movie has some really disturbing scenes, like really disturbing, and some things are not completely clear. Like at the end, for example, I think it's pretty open. Like I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. So what do you guys think when you saw the script? Do you understand everything that was in there?
I'm not sure. I have to answer something. I am not sure it's very important to understand. They are going to, let's say, I learned astrophysics a little bit as I was writing the script. And I learned something that even I don't understand at all. It's if you get inside a black hole, let's say, you can get there if it's large enough, if you're not burnt before. You reach a place called the singularity of the black hole, where time and space meet. And for me, I try to understand. But time and space meet, it's like, I could not explain that. So maybe the script was a little bit obscure too.
And that was fine. You know, when you're going towards the black hole, you don't know what's going to happen. You just know you're stuck there with people you have to deal with. My purpose was very clear, actually, because I was the doctor.
Shaman of sperm.
Yeah. And so in need, you know, and not knowing exactly what to do with that need, and yet loving these people and hating them at the same time, because not understanding why I'm here, and yet knowing why I'm here. So it's all the questions that a human being can ask oneself in one's life on Earth or outside of Earth.
I have the feeling also that maybe she understands somehow why the character played by Robert preferred chastity, but in a way it makes him like the most desirable passenger, you know, because he refused himself to her or to be part of it, you know. And I think truly she's not only attracted, she had a sort of real tenderness for him. And I think it shows when she joined him on the bed. Me, I feel that scene very strongly as a sort of blind love scene.
Claire, ¿qué tal?
Hi, Claire. Gonzalo, I'm Gonzalo Hurtado from Peru. Hi, Claire. My question is as follows. When I see your film, I start to imagine many references from Solaris by Tarkovsky or Class B, Alien, The Eighth Passenger. I want to know whether those films had any influence when you wrote the script or whether any other films. And for Robert, I think that at this time, you've gotten rid of Twilight, the stigma of Twilight so far. You're making very interesting films. At what moment did you decide to do some such personal type cinema? When did you take that leap?
Do you want me to answer first? Je réponds d'abord?
Oui.
Et après Robert?
Oui.
OK. Bien sûr.
Of course, there are a lot of references, and they're very important, not only Solaris, but I think that with Tarkovsky, I think there's something magnificent, which happened not only with Solaris, and Tarkovsky shows us that science fiction is something that belongs to the earth, something earthly, something that only humans can imagine. We don't require alien. We don't need alien. We don't need monsters. In sci-fi is okay by just using men and women. And this is something that I also believe in firmly. The truth is, I'm not too interested in monsters. No, not at all. And as regards to Robert, well, Robert has to answer now. You answer, Robert. Tell us what you think.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I never really thought I had any kind of stigma attached to me. It's other people say. But I don't know. And I think I've tried to make pretty much every single movie ever since I sort of accidentally became an actor. I find all of them to be quite personal to me. I mean, that's like kind of sort of the whole point in any performance is to figure out how to make it feel personal to you. And just the last few movies are just working with directors who I wanted to work with for years and years and years. I mean, it just I don't know. You can never really tell the world, tell your audience how to view something. I mean, they just, it's just like a tide. And suddenly, people think one thing one year and another thing another year. You don't really have too much control over it. But yeah, but I've really appreciated the different people who've kind of I've come into contact with over the last few years to work with.
Hello. Is it working? I was wondering, it's a question for the actors, what you took home with you as actors after this experience?
What did we take home? I took home my bracelet, for example. I know it's not what you mean. And I also have the T-shirts.
C'est tout? I think.
No.
No, okay. I walked away from that experience thinking, I don't know if I'd ever experience anything quite like that again. It was a very small group of people, and we were there for a moment in time, and that will never really be repeated ever again. And I walked away just feeling really grateful for that experience, because to do a film like this with a sci-fi genre, with a director like Claire and this incredible cast, and to have such freedom and to feel so trusted and have so much faith in your director, it was really just an amalgamation of all these wonderful factors, and I just walked away feeling felt like I learned a lot about myself and exactly where I wanted to go in my future and the kinds of people that I want to continue to work with, and it really just confirmed that for me, really. Rob?
I go home with. Yeah, I guess it's just to do something where you feel there's not a very specific expectation laid out for you from the director or from the script or anything, and it does feel quite refreshing to kind of to work on something where you genuinely feel like you can't fail. You take away all the kind of anxiety of doing a movie normally, when a lot of directors have a very particular idea in mind. I always think I'm saying the right, because I know I'm almost definitely thinking a different thing to Claire. It's like, I know exactly what I want, and you definitely can fail. But like, I don't know, but I guess just having an experience where it just feels like, it felt like a very organic process, and the film it did feel like it was, the world of the film was growing as we were making it, and it just felt very natural, and it's always a very refreshing thing to go on with, if that makes any sense.
I took home the joy of working with this beautiful cast and director, the joy of sharing different kind of emotions. Being in front of Agatha, for example, for the scene we had together was thrilling, because you feel dangerous, and I love it. No, truly.
She is dangerous.
She feels dangerous, and Mia, there's this kind of glowing love of any moment, and the danger being in front of you, Rob, that you never know where it's going. And André Benjamin, who's a wonderful soul that is like, sliding and enjoying and learning. And Lars, who's like in this kind of ambitious a journey that he wants to conquer in films, and loving the work and proposing millions of things, half naked, and
Especially half naked.
And I mean, each of us, there was a special moment, and Andy and the producers being there. I mean, there was so much trying to make the best film, and yet I was seeing Claire struggling with time, with the set, with trying to make it as good as possible. But I love the work of all those countries mixed together to try and make a crazy film, and that's really enjoying to see that. And so when you're back home, you feel like, okay, it was not easy, but I had the best time in my life, and I really felt that.
I have to say to Juliette and to you that we had just finished before, opening a film before, and we were almost a little bit still in that mood of being together in the other film. And I knew I had to jump radically into space with her, leaving the other film behind, and to jump. It was a sort of bet to do, huh? And rapidly, being the doctor, you became the sort of second director of the ship. You know, you were like organizing things, and I think you were like a sort of mistress, you know, with your long, beautiful hair. So it was very strong between me and Juliette to be able in the same year to change completely, you know, and also not to bring sadness, but while we were shooting in Cologne, my mother was dying in Paris, and I was traveling every weekend back to hospital, and it was like being in family, really, because the film and my mother, and it was a complete thing, you know, it was a whole thing. After all, of life and death, not sadness, no.
Also, what we learned with the astrophysicians and the astronauts is that you can go on a spaceship very quickly, like in 8 minutes. And so just meeting with them and all, it felt so tangible, so possible, that if you really train, you can do it. And that was, for me, that was really eye-opening, because I always felt it was so difficult and so far, and it's probably very difficult, but there was something very possible.
By chance, in Köln, there is also the European Astronautical Center, and we were allowed to spend time there, to visit, to train some machine. And in that place, you have a huge screen, and you can see live the life of the real astronaut
working,
but in the solar system, near Earth, not outside the solar. And the commandant, for 2 hours, I saw him bent, doing something, and I said, "What is he doing for 2 hours? I can see only his back." And the woman with us, Laura, told me that the thing is, the problem is that their toilets are blocked, and he's repairing the toilet for the last 2 days. And suddenly it made them so close, you know.
Vale, pues tenemos que ir terminando.
Okay, we have to finish. The truth is, one big round of applause for everyone in the fantastic film.